Hey guys, it's Heather from Heather and Books, and I'm here today with my ungodly large July book haul. This last month was a month of people visiting, people traveling, me traveling a lot. And so what happens when Heather has people visiting and travels a lot is that we tend to go to bookstores because all of my friends are book fanatics like I am. So that attributes to a lot of this. I have, do I even want to count this, guys? Do I even want to count this? 20 books. I used to watch book hauls and go, how do people buy that many books? And then I realized it's really easy. It's really easy. So I'm going to try and organize these by when I got them and what I bought. And so let's just get started. Alright, so at the beginning of the month, it might have actually been like the last day of June, but I'm going to put it with July. My boyfriend was in town from California and we went to Barnes & Noble and I bought 2 books. I got Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson in the new YA editions. And the other book I got was The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. And I'm really ashamed I haven't read this yet because I read the first 2 books in June of the series and I'm so psyched for the third one. And I was going to use this as like a tide over in August and July. And it's still going to be a tide over because I haven't read it yet. And then after the day that he left, my 2 best friends from college came to visit, and one of them is a huge book fanatic and the other is dating a huge book fanatic, and so we went to Hyde Park again and we hit up this lovely bookstore called Powell's. It's kind of the branch of the Powell's bookstore that's in Chicago, and tons of used books. And I actually got really lucky. I got Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes, and this is the edition I actually need for my college course this coming semester, but I just wanted to read it to begin with, and I think I paid like $7. Yeah, $7.50, haha, for this book, which is how I ended up getting so many. I got a lot of used books this month. And then because I'm an English major and a nerd, I got The Animal Lore of Shakespeare's Times, which I think was like, I don't know, $5 maybe? And then because I'm a classics nerd, I don't read classics too often right now because I read so many of them for school, but I've got a whole shelf devoted to them. And I saw this special 50th anniversary limited edition copy of Catch-22. It's the British one. You can tell because it's only got the price in euros. So this was 19 euros, which would be like $25, and I think I got it for like 10 maybe. And it is a gorgeous copy. It's got blue on the edges. It's like one of those hard ones, turtle shell books. And the inside is blue with this motif of the plains. And my friend offered to have me borrow it from her, but then she also pointed out that it's a book you really need to read a couple times to really get into it and get it. And I have never wasted money on a classic because, like I said, I want to be an English teacher, and so chances are high that I'll have to teach these books at some point. And then I saw Villette by Charlotte Bronte, and I was originally going to pass this up because I was like, I didn't really want to pay $12 for it, and then I realized it was only $6 because it was a remainder book, as you can see from the red mark. I hate those things, but I love the vintage classics that look like this, and so I fell in love with the cover, and it's Charlotte Bronte. And I love Bronte books, especially love Charlotte Bronte, and I didn't even know she'd actually written anything besides Jane Eyre, so I picked this up, and I will definitely read this next time. I'd want escapist, but not 21st century escapism. And the last book I picked up when we were at Powell's is a book that I've read before, and that is Serafina by Rachel Hartman. I bought this for friends for Christmas one year when I was doing books for everyone, and I'd never read it, but I heard it was amazing, so I bought it for her. And then I read it from the library, and I went out searching for my own copy. By the time I went looking for a copy, they'd switched to the purple edges and then like the slightly colored in background, which I didn't like as much as the classic red with the black, white, and red drawing and the gold lettering. So I never bought it, but I loved the book so much. And then we were there, and it turns out Rachel Hartman used to work at Powell's, and so they had a bunch of old copies. They're beaten up. There's like marker on the side, and there's a remainder mark, and some of the pages were a little bit torn, but they were willing to sell them. It was like $5 for this hardcover, and there's really nothing wrong with the pages. So I am so psyched to finally own a copy of this book, and I think it's going to go to college with me as my kind of fun, I need something really quick to read that I've read before book. So then after that, the group of us had lunch, and then we headed over to 57th Street Books because I had a book I've wanted from there, and that was Froy of the Exiles by Melina Marchetta. I'd read Finnegan of the Rock last month, the very beginning of the month, and I just finished it, and so when the chance came to go to a bookstore the day after I finished it, I was like, yes, must needs get. So I picked this one up. I got the book Who Fears Death by Nnedi Okorafor, which is a book that my dad tried to get me to buy in June, and that I'd even seen before that, and it is about a woman who is in post-apocalyptic Africa, and she's raped, and her daughter is named Onwe, which means, or Onye Sonu, which means Who Fears Death, and it's got some fantasy magic stuff in it, and post-apocalyptic in Africa, and it was a 2011 World Fantasy Award winner, and it's got like 3 other awards and numerous other honors, as the back says. So I just thought it would be a little bit different, a little outside my comfort zone, but still a good buy and only like $8 for the gamble. And then the next book trip I went on was with a friend, and we went to a new used bookstore in town that replaced another one, and I got 3 books. The first one I got was Measure for Measure, which is a Shakespeare play I'd never heard of, and if there's a Shakespeare I've never heard of, I tend to buy it because that excites me. And then I got a book I've been looking for a while, which was The Brief Wonderful Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. And I hadn't wanted to pay the full price yet, ever, and then it was actually $6 used, and it's a perfectly good copy. You can tell someone's read it a couple times, but other than that, there's nothing wrong with it. And then I got The Egyptologist by Arthur Phillips, and I'd seen this at a couple used bookstores, always wanted to pick it up, never had. I love ancient Egypt. I want to read this now, but I'm making myself wait. And then Half Price Books was doing their 50% off day where you had a coupon and you could go in and get one book 50% off. So I went in and I got Since You've Been Gone. By the time I got there, their new books that are 20% off were basically empty. There was like 3 books in the entire store that were brand new but with the 20% off sticker on them, because people had clearly been in there all day and had cleared off that shelf. However, there was a used copy of Since You've Been Gone, so it was already $9. I think I got it for like $4.50, which is a great deal because it just came out in March, I believe. And I'd heard a lot of great things about this. I've never read a Morgan Matson book, so I thought this might be a good place to start and a great summer read. And then I went and obviously checked the Sanderson and got Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson because this is one of those books that I've been really wanting to read, and they had it for like $4. And then I'm trying to get all of the Lord of the Rings books in these covers, the ones that Tolkien designed, and they had a bunch of copies of the 3rd book, The Return of the King, at Half Price Books when I was there in pretty good condition. So I picked this one up, and so I've got the 3rd one, but the 1st and 2nd not yet. And then I was sent shopping by parents and went to Target, and I picked up If I Stay by Gail Forman because I loved this book when it first came out, and I really wanted to read it again since the movie's coming out in August, and I'd always meant to pick up another copy, but I hate the new cover, and you can't find the old one anymore, although I think the old one's gorgeous. But then I saw this movie cover, and it was phenomenal, and so I just decided to get this. And then I was out of town in Florida on a family vacation, and my mom left her book on a plane and had to take one of my books, and that was the book I was going to read next, so I didn't have a book for the flight home, but I didn't want to take away the book she was reading. So in exchange, she decided to buy me a book, and she ended up buying me 2 books. So at the airport, I bought Bones of the Lost by Kathy Rakes, which is just one of my guilty pleasure books. And then The Truth About the Harry Kubert Affair by Joel Dicker. And this is actually a book that my boyfriend had been talking a lot about, and it just sounds really good. It's about a writer and a mystery, and that's all up my alley. But it was really big, so I haven't read it yet, but I'm so excited. Last 2 books I have actually come from the Ernest Hemingway Foundation. I volunteer there now, and so I stopped by their bookstore because I thought I should read a little bit more about him. So I picked up At the Hemingways, The 58 Years of Correspondence Between Ernest and Marceline Hemingway by Marceline Hemingway Sanford, which is his older sister. And it's just a book about her recollections of growing up in the Hemingway family with her brother and of her brother, and trying to kind of set the record straight on who she thought her brother was, instead of who the world thought her brother was. And the last book I got was A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway, and this was also from the Ernest Hemingway Foundation at Oak Park, but it's his book that I've heard the most good things about. I've only ever read For Whom the Bell Tolls. I did not get along with that book, possibly because I had to read it for class and then procrastinated horribly on the assignment, so I had to rush through it. But I'm hoping this one's a much better experience, and I think it will be. I've heard it's most people's favorite just because it tends to be in a different style than all his other books. So does my exceedingly large 20-book book haul, which completely outweighs the 10 books I actually read this month. It was a pretty good book month for me, and I'm excited to read all of them, and I'm really sad because I go back to school in a month, at the end of this month, so I'm not going to have a huge chance to read all of them, but I'm going to try to be better about reading. We'll see. But thank you for joining me for this extra long book haul, and I will see you later. Bye!